here, that will be the Snyman bike. And Johnny Towers will be sharing that bike with Snyman. They're always, or they are the quickest out there. That's why they are standing in that pole position. But remember, we will do the Lamar start. That will make it very interesting indeed.
One thing there, Frankie. Let me put my mic on first. That's a good idea. And that's Snyman, who's sharing with Johnny Towers on the brand new Honda CBR 1000 Fireblade. And that's, of course, always in that bright red and blue RST bike there. All right, there we go. So the new white bike, excuse me, I'm going by the original colors of the Snyman bike. But there goes our riders now. It looks like the wind might have just died down a little bit. I don't want to speak too soon, but Tristan Pinard and he's got Quinton Weening alongside him, Tristan Pinard on the R6 Yamaha. Ronald Slamet, it's another one as well, a man from Namibia, but is well and truly a proud South African for many years. The Snyman and Towers, of course, Snyman, Johnny Towers from the UK, who's a multiple champion and winner. Slade and Matthew van Niekerk out there as well. And that's, of course, on the Kawasaki ZX-10. Trevor Westman, the killer, number 60, out there. And that's, of course, also on the ZX-10, the Smart and Adams bike, Orange and Bramdor on 600s. So Pinard and Quinton Weening on the 600.
Here they go. Right, so they're on their way. They're running across the track and away they go as the lights went off, and it's 1 hour enduro for the big bikes out there. That is the Superbikes, classic bikes, breakfast run bikes, all the big boys out there, and this is going to be some seriously quick lap times. And I can tell you this, that the 19 bike is up front. That is the Snyman Johnny Towers outfit that sits out there in P1. You can't miss that big white number 19 machine that sits there in the lead through the kink. They race towards the Interceptor corner, and they're building up a sizable lead already as they make their way out of Interceptor, racing up the hill, Byron, towards a turn 4 saddle sweep.
Yep, down the Tygerberg straight through that double apex right-hander. The sweep right onto the straight, then they'll run a slightly curved straight, and look at the gap, like you said already, Frankie. That start was a mighty, mighty start. They will enter the Pertamina Fastron turn 5 for the first time in this particular race, as we are in the first 2 minutes, of course, of this 60-minute race. Across the line, we then run. That's the Snyman and Towers bike. Then the Van Niekerks will follow suit in bike number 92. The 68, of course, of the Ronald Slamet machine in 3rd position. Rob Craig and Gerrit Frey in 4th position. And then the Anti-Cotton Hendricks machine will be 5th. Westman in 6th. Pinard and Weening in 7th position. Otto and Lineker in 8th. And then Smart and Adams and Orense and Bramdor will round off that top 10. So 10 starting like we had in the previous endurance race.
Right, so into turn 3, Interceptor corner. The leaders come. It's a whole lot of bikes that's filtering through turn number 3. Out of Interceptor, the leader already working his way through saddle sweep, that double right-hander. He's been chased down there by about 7, 8 bikes as they work their way down the back main. He's absolutely lighting up this track. 2nd position is Slade and Matthew van Niekerk. Down the back main they go. Remember that these guys raced the earlier race, and now on 2 separate machines, and now they're on the same bike in that 2nd position.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out what the machine is, because it doesn't say it on the actual list here, but they are in the race. That's the main thing. as Anticott is now down in 6th position. The 78 bike with Wesley Hendricks and Rob Craig up in 4th position. Trevor Westman into 5th position. They're very close there at the front to each other. The first flyer came around now, a 1:13.074 for the Kewan Snyman, Johnny Towers, number 19 Fireblade.
But making their way out of turn number 2, there's about 5 bikes that is fighting over 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and they are working their way into Interceptor now. That is the 68 bike of Slamet. Then the Rob Craig bike that's right in there behind him, followed by Trevor Westman, Dave Entercott and Wesley Hendricks also in that fight. That's a group of bikes that's working its way down the back straight on your screen. You'll see them come into view now as the leader, all on his own, works his way out of Fostron Corner, and that's at 19 bike of Snyman and Towers.
Yeah, not only the overall leader, but the Superbike class leader, and was leading by 4.1 seconds over the Van Niekerks. That would have grown now slightly. When they cross the line, you'll see the gap between them, 6.5 seconds, and a 1:12.672 for that number 19 machine as they cross the line. Trevor Westman is not only 3rd overall, but 2nd in class. Rod Slamet 3rd in class, 4th overall. Looking at how the 600s are sitting at the moment, the leading 600 is the Van Niekerks, all the Van Niekerks, and then 2nd in class we Pinar, and there as well with Zante Otto and Lineker.
We have a look at our time devices here. We can see that Westman's gone up a position, Slammer's dropped a position, and so was a 16 bike of Craig and Frey. They have dropped positions as well as we watch this group of bikes working its way out of a turn 3 Interceptor.
Oh, some good jostling down the field. I speak under correction, but I think that might be the Pinar Zante Otto machines, 50 and 93, going wheel to wheel with each other, you could say, over there in a way, or going elbow to elbow rather. Down the straight they will all run. They're still very much in close proximity to each other. The last time around, a 1:12 that has been completed now and improved by Kewan Snyman and Johnny Towers. A 1:12.483, the fastest lap of the race. Then the gaggle of bikes. We already have the Van Niekerks that have come through. Westman, Slamet, then the Craig has come up to 4th position, Slamet into 5th position. Then it's the Anticott and Hendricks and the Pinar and Winton Weaning bikes.
Yeah, that last bike in that group that's making its way out of turn number 1, that is the 5-0 bike of Tristan Pinar, and his teammate there is Quinton Weaning. That is that last bike that's making its way through. You can see it's got that yellow and blue, and he's trying to look around the outside and gets pinched right there through that kink, and there was not a damn thing he can do. That's 4, 5, 6 and 7 you see there on your screen making their way. There they come into view, coming up the hill now and into Saddle Sweep. 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th.
Oh, true elbows out racing here in this very early stage of an endurance race. They go into the straight now, Frankie, and I think that yellow machine of Pinar might have just squeezed through past Anticott.
So the leader heading into turn number 1, but we'll stay with that fight there because that 19 bike with a 1:12.422 is the fastest machine out there, with Van Niekerk in 2nd. That is Slade Van Niekerk, Matthew Van Niekerk, and then Trevor Westman all on his own in that 3rd, and then 4, 5, 6 and 7th positions storming down into turn number 1. Westman is in 3rd. That is Craig and Frey, Entercott and Hendricks, and Pinar and Weaning 4, 5, 6 and 7 heading into turn 2.
And look at there, Ronald Slammer just holding on to the group there. But now we go back to the leaders at the moment. The number 19, Snyman and Towers, on the Honda CBR 1000, leads the way at this time. 12 seconds between themselves and the Van Niekerk crew, the number 92 bike, and that goes down the back straight. Remember, that is a 600 machine, a 650.
And it just put a lap there on the 33 bike of Wayne Arends and Bramdor, that is on that 33 bike. But that battle for 4, 5, 6 and 7 is making its way into turn number 5, Fostron Corner. We should see them come into view now. Here they come, into view. These guys are crowding each other. We've only done 7 minutes and 45 seconds of this. And remember, there's still a compulsory pit stop as well as we watch these guys race into turn number 1. And that is Craig and Frey, Entercott and Hendricks, Slam It, and then the 5-0 bike of Tristan Pienaar in there, and Quinton Weening.
Just want to speak under correction here, Frankie. I see Slade van Niekerk, Matthew van Niekerk are both on the ZX10, and they're currently under the 650 or 600 class at the moment, which I think might be a slight error because that is a 1000cc bike that they are on the ZX10, so they will still be in that section, so meaning that the Tristan Pienaar machine, the number 50 machine, that's the one he shares with Quinton Weening, currently is the leader of the 600 class at the moment, ahead of Zante Otto and Jason Lineker. And then we have Wayne Aronser and Brandon Bramdell in that 3rd position in class.
The leader making his way out of turn number 1 all on his own there, and he is far down the road, 112.422, and that is the leader sitting out there in P1.
Well, almost the first full 10 minutes of this hour-long enduro have been completed. We're into the last minute of that 10 minutes, and look at how close we have some great battles over here and into an enduro that is 3rd and 4th. Trevor Westman and David Entercott battling it out with each other, I would think. Might be under correction over here. I'm just looking at the gaps and times here. We have Entercott, number 78, and Rob Craig on that number 16 bike that are actually very close to each other at the moment. He shares that with Gerrit Frey. I think that might be the battle we were just witnessing there. It was 0.4 of a second, Frankie, when they crossed the line the last time out.
I'm worried about this group of bikes that's heading into turn 4 now. That is the fight that we've got to watch. Coming out of turn 4, they are going hell for leather down the back straight. And here comes Pienaar, Tristan Pienaar. Oh, that's actually, yeah, it's a few of them, and they're putting a lap on the 33 there. They're catching the Arendt's bike, and man, are they obliterating each other as they race down into turn number 5. And the Arendt's bike has to keep right out the way there. He shares that bike with Bramdell as he gets brutally attacked coming out of turn 5 under the City of Cape Town Bridge and into turn 1.
Well, Aronson and Bramdell second last in this race at the moment at 28.396 the last time out, their last lap compared to the 112s, 115s and 117s being done up the field. But a 112.262 by the number 19 machine. That is the fastest lap at the moment, as we are now with 49 minutes left to go. They've got a 20.6 second gap between themselves and the number 92 ZX10. Then it's Trevor Westman. That's still in the vicinity over there as well, which is actually a very interesting one.
So going into turn number 1, all on his own. That is Q and Snyman. Hasn't betted the 112.262. So we wait for that fight for second and third. That's working its way out of turn number 5. And that is Slade and Matthew van Niekerk, and look who's with them, Trevor Westman. As they cross that line virtually side by side. Westman's in second. Westman is in second position, 7/100ths of a second as they cross that start-finish line. And there they head out of one, making their way towards turn 2, and they're virtually side by side. And here comes this group of motorcycles that's fighting it for that midfield positions.
Just looking at Westman and the Van Niekerks, 0.2 of a second faster on that last lap. That Westman was a 1:15.6 to the 1:15.8 of the Van Niekerks in that second position. But look behind them, as Frankie's been pointing out, and Gary's also been very excited to see this as well, is all this whole gaggle of bikes. We have the Craig Frey bike, we have Ronald Slammert, we have Entercott and Hendricks in there, and we have the Otto Lineker machine, the number 93 machine, as Snyman and Towers, number 19, crosses the line to complete lap 10.
And as they go into turn number 1, second and third is heading into turn number 5 into Fostron corner. That is Trevor Westman, and he's going to do this hour on his own. And then Slade and Matthew van Niekerk They will share that bike, and it's still Westman that's in that second position. Yes, it is. Trevor still sitting out there in P2, and he's been mugged there by that 92 bike as they work their way out of turn number 1. But here we go, Byron. This is that mid-pack, and it's the 50 bike that's going to be in there. That is the Pino winning combination as they work their way out of turn number 1.
Slammet just got past that number 50
Yes,
bike
you're
on the number
quite right.
68 bike there, Frankie. So they go onto the Joubert straight now.
And there was 200ths of a second between them. That's why they were literally nose to tail when they crossed that line.
Well, the number 50 bike's on the outside of the 68 of Slammet. Slammet will come out into the kink over there, out of Castrol towards turn 3 now. He'll try on the outside again, Frankie, will that bright yellow canary bike, and try it on the outside, but he's not going to make it work there.
We've got to stay with this fight that's going into turn number 4 right now, and that is going to be magic stuff between 68 and 50. Down the back main they go, and the 50 bike is ahead there as they go down the back straight. That is the 50 bike. That's a combination of a Pino and winning as they go into turn number 5. And as we watch them that fight for second and third, somebody's gone wide. Somebody's gone very wide there in turn 5. I don't know if they would just go pan past, going very, very slow, and he's making his way into the pit area. So where's Tiny disappeared to now?
Well, just looking at as they come now, we'll pick up for you who that is. But coming across the line, Zante Otto and Jason Lineker on that number 93 red and blue machine. All right, it's the Yamaha of Quinton Weening and Tristan Pienaar, the bright yellow machine that has come into the pits. So they went wide, Frankie, as you saw, and had to come into pit lane. There's a lot of activity around the bike, and we'll see now if they're what's going on over there. Frankie's got the binoculars on. We'll try and get and see what's going on. But we, of course, have some riders coming into that Pertamina faster on turn 5 section. We wait for the Van Niekerks, Westman, Slammet, trying to eat into Westman, the 2 single rider bikes. Crossing the line as we do now. Slade Van Niekerk, Trevor Westman still hanging in there as well. 0.4 of a second. Trevor Westman is off on that Kawasaki ZX10. And it's 2 Kawasaki ZX10s, of course, Slade and Matthew Van Niekerk. Well, watch them as they come through. Here comes Slammet now. Slammet comes across the line. He's got 16.1 seconds ahead of him. He gets the Westman bike. Anti-Cotton Hendricks. They come across the line now, 5th position on bike number 78. Then it is the Zante Otto Lineker machine. They are on the 600s, of course. The 600s that the leader is at the present moment. Zante Otto Lineker. Pienaar will slip down into second. He's still sitting in the pits at the present moment. That yellow Yamaha, and is not going anywhere for the foreseeable future.
Byron, I've been watching through the binoculars. There's not much activity happening around that machine, so we'll see if it does come out again. I'm not sure what's happening. I can't really see properly where they are positioned. If you look through the binoculars, you've got this big structure in front of you, so it's difficult to make out exactly what they are doing as we watch the 92 and the 60 bike going into turn number 1. That's fight for second and third position. And it's in the hands there of Slade and Matthew Van Niekerk from Trevor Westman as they head down the Joubert straight towards Castrol Corner. Still fighting it out there for second and third spot.
So 13 laps having been completed in this race by our leader so far. I see the Zante Otto Jason Lineker bike coming across the line, the leader of the 600 class, 7th overall on that number 93 bike. But the leader comes across the line now overall. That's the Superbike class as well, having completed 14 laps and a last lap of 1:13.320. Much more modest than the 1:12.262 of Snyman and Towers on that number 19 Fireblade.
Well, we expect a dominating performance by the number 19 bike As we still wait for second and third to cross the line, it shows you how far down the road he is as we watch him work his way around. And here comes this fight for second and third, and they've got a back marker that just stays right out the way there, and that is a 92 bike ahead of the 6-0 bike. Then we should have the 68 bike heading towards us, and that will be the Red Baron, Ronald Slamet. And he's indeed Ronald all on his own. And then the 78 and the 16 bikes, they cross the line now and head into turn number 1. That's Enticott, Hendrikse, Craig and Frey.
Well, looking at as they cross the line, Frankie, the Van Niekerk 92 bike and the 60 Westman bike, there was a 1/10 of a second between the two of them. A 1/10 of a second. Looking at the times between them, a 15:1 for Westman, a 59 on that last lap for Slade and Matthew Van Niekerk. A much slower lap, 8/10 between them on that last lap.
Well, something must be wrong with that 5-0 bike. It's still standing in the pits. It's dropped down to stone last on the leaderboard. And there was not much activity happening, and still not much or too much happening around that 5-0 bike.
Oh, that means of the 11 bikes that started this race, 10 are left. Wayne Gress and Niku Venter also came into this race. They are currently in 9th position ahead of Arendse and Bramdor. Remember, those two are third place runners.
Somebody should come into the pits now. We'll get Tiny to identify who has come into the pit area.
Sorry, we're just struggling to get a number over here because of the positioning. Slamet is going into one right now, and he's 18.9 seconds. 78 and 16 come across the line. There's another machine in the pits as well. 99, Gress and Venter.
Yep. They are second last on track. That 99 bike of Wayne Gressa and Venter.
23, it's Nashim Smart and Zahir Adams. Two bikes, of course. Now the 99 is going to be coming out back onto the circuit again.
Yeah, it is a 99.
Yep, Wayne Gress and Niku Venter. That, of course, will be the 9th place 99 machine, which is the Yamaha R1. Snyman and Towers across the line already, having completed 16 laps. 92 crosses the line. Look how close Trevor Westman still is, 9/10 of a second.
Yeah, they're coming out of turn number 1 now. That's a 92 and the 6-0 bike that is heading out of turn number 1. And there was 9/10 of a second between them as they exited turn number 1. And they work their way now towards a turn 2. Through Castle Corner they go, and that is a pretty close dice. It's about the only really close dice that we've got on the track at this stage is that 92 bike and the 6-0.
23 did leave the pits now. That's the Smart and Adams machine, the first of the genuine stoppers. And then we'll have a flurry of them coming in shortly as well after these 17, almost 18 laps and under 40 minutes left to go. I see now onto the back straight. We have some good battles going on. Is that the Van Niekerk and Westman section? 92 versus number 60. 9/10 of a second the last time out, Frankie. It was as close as a 1/10 of a second the previous lap or two around.
When they crossed the line, there was 9/10 of a second. Now they're going to pick up a couple of back markers, and this should be interesting. As they cross the line and work their way into turn number 1. Slamet is not too far behind. As a matter of fact, he's making his way all on his own out of turn number 5, out of Fostron, as we stick with this combination of bike 92 and 6-0.
It took 6/10 of a second out of the Van Niekerks, did Trevor Westman. Frankie, it's now 4/10 of a second between them. A 1:49 for Westman, a 1:15.5 for Slade. All right, so now going into that first turn now.
It's
16. And while going into the...
according to this, they're on a 600.
Yeah, but according to that, they're on the 16. Well, sorry there, folks. Just Just searching where we are over here. Of course, 37 and a half minutes left to go in this race. And Snyman and Towers, they've crossed the line. Slade van Niekerk and Matthew van Niekerk and Trevor Westman having a lovely little battle between each other. Ronald Slammert up in that top 4 as well. However, about 22.4 seconds off of that third place man. Westman comes across the line with Slade.
Never mind. This is wrong. They're not on a 650.
I know that.
So that's wrong. So that doesn't exist. That is wrong. Super Sport 650. You know why? Because Slade and Matthew rode 2 different bikes in that class. Now they've got a big start. So that is right. If you just got to tell
well, Snyman and Towers, his bike, the number 19, the Fireblade, goes across the line now, as does Craig and Frey. Craig and Frey actually having a nice battle there with Enticott and Wesley Hendricks, the number 16 bike and the number 78 bike, going now onto that short Joubert straight towards the turn 2 section. They'll blast it down that Joubert straight before they get to turn 2 then. They might be coming up there. Is that number 23 bike? And I think they're just coming up behind as well, which will be the Nashif Smart and Adams bike coming into turn 3 right about now. Yeah, it's a bit ahead of them though. A bit of a jostle going on. Down the straight they'll then run as we head towards half distance in this Superbike endurance race. Second and third going into turn 1 now. That is the 2 ZX10s of the Van Niekerks and Trevor Westman, 92 versus number 60. So they'll be coming around. Look at this lovely battle between them. It's a 1/10 of a second as they cross the line as well. They are nose to tail with each other. They'll come into turn 3 now. They'll get onto that Tygerberg straight. And then just as they go through that turn 4, the double apex right-hander at Saddle Sweep, open it out onto the back straight. Look at them come around here. Hopefully the photographers are getting some great shots here of these two machines. Onto the back straight they go. In the slipstream, it will be Trevor the Killer Westman. Is he going in for the kill? We'll have to see now as he goes right down towards turn 5, Pertamina Fostron.
Well, they are side by side as they work their way out of Fostron corner. Man, these guys with 34 minutes still left on the clock. They are giving it all they can. Under the bridge as one. Under the bridge, and it's still the 92 bike. That is 800ths of a second ahead of Westman as they make their way into turn number 1. That could chop and change. Man, they've got 34.5 minutes left to go before they see that checkered flag. And these guys are racing an hour enduro as if it was a 10-lap sprint race.
Yeah, the all Kawasaki battle it is between the two of them. It's some real talent here. Some from a bit more yesterday, some from all current. But the leader comes across, behind a back marker there for the Snyman Towers bike into turn 1, and there will be a back marker being run now because I think the Rob Craig and Gerrit Frey bike might have just been taken as well. I see that they've lost out because they were a little bit further up. David Enticott and Wesley Hendricks' number 78 machine sits up in the top 5, 5th position.
Second, third, into 5.
But 21 laps having been completed by Snyman and Towers' number 19 machine. Here comes our second and third place battle. Remember, 800ths of a second between the two of them the last time they crossed the line. This time they crossed the line. Trevor Westman is ahead by 2/10ths of a second.
And Byron, as we so speak, that 5-0 bike of Pina and Weening are still there in the pit area, and they did so well initially. And that is a game, set, a match. Ask Tiny to put the binoculars on them. I don't think there's anything happening around that 5-0 bike anymore as the leader makes his way into turn number 1, and his last lap was a 1:13.784.
Oh, look at this trio of bikes as well, Frankie, that's having a lovely time. Yeah, second and third passing a back mark. My apologies. It just shows you that a lot of lapping gets done in an endurance race. Sometimes it is a bit difficult to find out who's where, especially in the bike race. But we do know that it is Trevor Westman and it is Slade van Niekerk. The last time around 0.2 of a second between them. He's still keeping him in close proximity. Is that number 92 machine. Slamit a further 27.5 seconds back and 16 seconds in turn ahead of that David Enticott and Wesley Hendricks bike.
And I'll tell you that Trevor has now opened up a bit more of a gap on him at 0.6 of a second that Westman has got on Van Niekerk as they exit turn number 1 with a back marker following suit. We're waiting now for the man that sits in P4. That is a 68 bike of Ronald Slamit. He should be crossing the line shortly. Here comes the leader through once again. Can you believe it, as he goes into turn number 1? And crossing the line now is the man in P4, Ronald Slamit. And let me tell you this for nothing, that the leader has lapped everybody up and until P4.
Yeah, lapping confidently half a second off of his best time at this time. 1:12.742 compared to the 1:12.2 that was recorded earlier on.
Yeah, so we have a look, see that fight for second and third still raging down there into turn 5, into Pertamina Fostron. And it's still Westman ahead of Slade and Matthew van Niekerk. Trevor's still ahead of him. Trevor's got that big bright light that's shining on the front of that machine of his. So Westman still sits there in that second position, and he has 3.327 ahead there of Slade and Matthew van Niekerk as we watch them exit turn 1 out of holes.
Well, Tiny has noticed that a number of boards are being hung out over the pit wall, and we might be getting some stops fairly shortly as well, Frankie. Meanwhile, that being said, Snyman and Towers' number 19 bike comes through to complete lap 24, and a bike has come in.
Right, somebody has come into the pit area. We'll have a look-see. We're just waiting for Tiny to give us confirmation as to who has gone in. That might be Slamit. Yes, it is Slamit. The 68 bike, the Red Baron, dropping down the leaderboard, but that's because he is in the pit area.
Oh, he gets up, gets a stretch, and then swaps around with himself, and he gets back on the bike.
Yeah, put some fuel in it. Another motorcycle that's making its way in.
Somebody going very wide.
That
93.
is the 93 bike. That's Zonte Otto and Jason Lineker.
The leader of the 600 class.
Oh, Westman is coming in. Westman is coming in. That's the only guy with a big bright light on that machine. That should be the 60 bike of Trevor Westman. It is the 60 bike of Trevor Westman, and he was in third position.
Yeah, there was very close between himself and the Van Niekerk duo on bike number 92. 0.3 of a second 2 laps ago. Leader going into 1 now, but that means that the Van Niekerks will take away that second place now from them. But remember, they have yet to stop.
Well, yes, that 19 bike must still come in. Q1 Snyman, I can tell you, is on board that machine. He's a man with the black and pink leathers, and he will then hand over to Johnny Towers. Now you can ask yourself the question, why is Johnny Towers riding that bike with him now? Because you will see Johnny Towers at the 8 hour next year. A rider just came past us now, had his hand up, and to show his crew that he will come in at the end of this lap.
Horace in on that machine, the 33 bike, shares that with Brandon Bramdor, and of course Wayne Horace, that's a Yamaha R1 that they are on.
Well, sadly, the demise of the 50 bike of Pienaar and Weening.
Another one in, Frankie. We'll pick up a number for you fairly shortly. It's difficult with the sunshine on the bike's number. And, yeah, well, you'll stop there. 92, and that, of course, is the Slade van Niekerk, Matthew van Niekerk bike, a lap after Trevor Westman.
Yes, so hopefully we will see that fight between them continue. Trevor has dropped all the way down to P4, that I can tell you, on the leaderboard, as a 92 bike came in 1 lap adrift.
Yeah, Trevor's riding by himself, remember, so only has to fill it up with fuel and then get out of that section. But the Van Niekerk and Matthew Van Niekerk, Slade and Matthew, I should rather say, they are stationary at the moment. David Endicott on the move on that number 78 bike in third position at the moment. Rob Craig and Gerrit Frey on bike number 16 crossing the line now. As I said, David Endicott and Wesley Hendricks, they do likewise. And well, still 10 bikes left in this race of the 11 that started, as we are now within the last half an hour, so past half distance.
As the leader goes into turn number 5, all on his own. That's the 19 bike of Snyman and Towers. When will he hit the pit lane? Surely. There's 27. No, he's going to continue. There's 27 minutes left on the clock as he heads into turn 1. Still the quickest man out there with a 1:12.262 bike number 19, Q1 Snyman. At 78 will be in second position. Still waiting for him to come through. And that will be Endicott and Hendricks as we follow the leader out of Castell Corner.
Looks like Zante Otto's machine coming out of the pits, Frankie, with shared with Jason Lineker, which I think Jason would be on the bike. That would be a 5th place machine now out of the pits, number 93.
Going into turn 1 now is a 23 bike of Nassim Smart and Adams on bike number 23.
Westman has come out of the pits. And Roald Slammert as well. So the two single rider machines out of the pits, and 4th and 7th respectively.
Yeah, and that's the 2 bikes you see coming out of turn number 1 there. That bright light, you can't miss that one. If you don't see the 60, look out for that big headlight. That is the 60 bike of Trevor Westman, currently finding himself there in that 4th position. So we'll watch them as they work their way through Interceptor Corner. Trevor Westman trying to get away from the Red Baron. There's going to be and a lot of slower riders that you see just ahead of them on the exit of turn 4, Sidle Sweep.
Now 25 minutes left to go, almost now, with 20 seconds off of that. And 27 laps having been completed by the number 19 Honda, the brand new Honda in white. And second at the moment, David Endicott, Wesley Hendricks having climbed their way back up on that number 78 machine. And the Van Niekerk 92.
Leaders in the pits. I just picked up that white bar machine in the pit area. You might see him on your screen, but the leader, bike number 19, is in the pits. That's Q1 Snyman, and he will hand over that machine to Johnny Towers.
Yep, Johnny Towers, who will be, like Frankie said, in next week's weekend's 8-hour race. Many of these riders will be in the 8-hour race. We will have 3 or even 4 riders per machine, some of them. But first things first, it's still the last half an hour of this particular endurance race. As
we watch Trevor Westman make his way through turn number 3, remember he'll be chased there. The leaderboard shows bike number 16 of Craig and Frey, but they are way behind him. So Trevor Westman sitting there in that fourth position, and it's a lonely P4 for Trevor Westman as he races down the back main. As I keep an eye on Trevor, or watch Trevor on the monitor, keep an eye on the pit area as well to see when that 19 bike is going to come out. He's still classified as the leader, might not be there for long if you can't get that bike out shortly. And still shown there as a P1, but the 92 and 60 bikes are coming out of turn number 1, and that is the Van Niekerk combination and Trevor Westman.
99 in again, that's the Wayne Gress Niku Venter bike. And remember, they did pull in earlier on. So we have, of course, 3 seconds between the second place Slade Van Niekerk and Matthew Van Niekerk, with Trevor Westman in the 3rd position at this time. 78 in.
That's Endicott and Hendricks. They're making their way into the pit area.
Yeah, they were second temporarily but had to stop still, and that means it's Slade van Niekerk, Matthew van Niekerk on bike number 92, and Trevor Westman move places up, second and third position as they do. The Anticott will be stationary now, handing over to Wesley Hendricks. Ronald Slamet in fifth position on bike number 68, ahead of Rob Craig by 19 seconds in that sixth position. And then Zante Otto and Jason Lineker on bike number 93, still in that seventh position, the leader of the 600 class.
Right, so Westman comes through. Westman comes through.
78 leaves the pits there, Frankie. Sorry, 78's leaving the pits.
That's the Intercott-Hendricks combination that has left the pits after their routine pit stop with 22 minutes left on the clock.
And of course the 99 will be still stationary at the moment as the Wayne Gress Nikufenta machine, as I said, that's of course a Yamaha R1 there. They will still be running it in this particular race. Wayne Aronson, Brandon Bramdell, the Honda CBR 600 that they are on. I actually made an error earlier on, but that 10th position, number 33 bike, still running quite strongly and second in class at the moment.
Right, the 19 bike is on a move, and it makes its way out of pit lane. That's Johnny Towers on that bike. Well, if he had stayed in that pits a little bit longer, he would have lost the lead to Trevor Westman. They are out. They are in P1, working their way out of turn 1, so nothing lost there for bike number 19 of Snyman and Towers as they exit turn 1 and work their way towards Castrol Corner. And as they do so, Trevor Westman is making his way into turn number 1.
So it's all about this last phase, Frankie, as Snyman and Towers, the number 19 machine, has 20 seconds, 20.4 exact, over Trevor Westman at this time. 6.1 seconds to him ahead of the Van Niekerk duo on bike number 92. Ronald Slamet poking his nose up into the top 4 now on bike number 68, and rounding off the top 5, Rob Craig Gerrit Frey on bike number 16. Always a good dark horse, always some great veterans.
Right, so we're going to keep an eye on this lot because the leader is heading into turn number 5 into Fostron Corner, and only 20 seconds behind him is Trevor Westman. So that's going to be interesting stuff, because here the leader comes towards us under the Castrol Bridge and working his way into turn number 1 into holes. Trevor Westman will be making his way, Byron, out of turn 5. Here he comes. Here he comes, and Westman is in that second place. I want to see what the gap is. It was 20, it's now 15. 15.533. So Westman has made up 5 seconds there on that 19 machine.
That's magnificent. That's astronomical if you ask me. And let me say one thing, watch out for that man with the headlamp that is burning at the moment, or you could say the shining of the sun, I should rather say, off of the fairing. And well, here he comes around now, and the number 60, Trevor the Killer Westman. We all thought it was actually a light. It's actually the sun. Is it a light? Okay, my apologies. Down the back is the leader then. Snyman and Towers, as we're saying, 15.5 seconds between himself and Trevor the Killer Westman.
No, that isn't the sun reflect. That's a big front light of that number 60 bike that you saw around this track. And there he goes, down the back main. He is heading towards turn number 5. Foster as a leader comes towards us under the City of Cape Town Bridge. Now, it was 20 point some odd. It was 15.5. It may be, it won't take 5 seconds out of him again. I cannot believe it. Here comes Trevor to the line. Trevor comes to the line, and it is 14.1. So he has taken a few seconds out there of Q and Snyman with 18 minutes and 25 seconds left.
Yeah, it took about a second point 4 out of the number 19 bike, a 15.5 compared to a 16.9. So it's about 1.3 seconds.
So we're waiting for that 92 bike to come towards us. He is in that third spot. Yes, I know, I don't see him. I'm looking at it. Lost with this one.
right, so Slade, Matthew van Niekerk making their way through some back markers over here. Third position at this time. And on the ZX10, a last lap of 1:29.59 after having completed 30 racing laps and 41 minutes and 40 seconds of racing time, as the leaders come across the line once more.
Right, there's a leader making his way into turn number 1. That is Kevin Snyman, and here coming towards us. We'll pick him up now. He's that man in second place. 13.5. Westman is clawing and crawling into the lead of the 19 machine of Snyman and Towers.
Yeah, right through that first turn, then onto the Joubert straight. And looking here now into that. All right, so Westman coming through.
Into turn number 1, there's a lovely fight. That's a 92 and the 68 bike coming out of turn number 1. That's a fight for P3 and 4. That's Slade and Matthew van Niekerk and Ronald Slamet. They are going one-on-one as they hit the brakes going into Castrol Corner. So that is the last fight for the podium positions heading out of Castrol Corner as we wait for the leader to come towards us once again. But we mustn't forget about that one. And there was a change of position there going through Interceptor as the leader crosses the start-finish line now and heads into turn number 1.
Yeah, as we head for about a quarter of an hour left in this race, 16 minutes to be exact now, only a minute to go until the 15-minute mark that goes left in this race. And it looks like Orange and Bramdor come through. Westman comes into turn 1 now. And will go his way through there, and then behind him 12.3 seconds now, Frankie just pointed out, so he's eaten more into that gap, a 1:16.311 compared to the 1:17.5.
Right, you're coming towards us now as that fight for P3 and 4. That's a 92 and the 68 bike, Slade and Matthew van Niekerk, Ronald Slamet, as they work their way through turn number 1. Man, that's going to be a good one. Will the 92 bike beat the 68, or will it be the other way around? We'll have a look and see as they make their way into Castrol Corner.
Right through there they'll then run, but we all have our eyes on Trevor Westman. He's 8 leaps and bounds into that lead of the number 19 machine, and 12.3. What will it be next time around? Leader comes across the line. We'll find out shortly what it will be. The leader comes across the line with a 16.2 as his lap at the moment. Westman comes now, Frankie. We'll see what he does.
Right, let's have a look and see if Trevor Westman crosses the line now, and it is 11.8. The difference is now 11.8, so lap after lap he's clawing into that lead there of the 19 bike as we wait for this dice to make its way through turn number 5 out of Fostrom. That's a dice between the 92 and the 60 bike, Van Niekerk, and then Ronald Slamet.
Yeah, it was a 15.7 compared to a 16.2. Half a second on the last lap, but he is running out of time, Frankie. 14 minutes left to go in this bike race. Snyman having completed 33 laps now. Lap 34 commences.
And in between that fight that you saw between 92 and 68, the 16 bike was ahead of them, but he is 1 lap down. As a matter of fact, that 16 bike is on the same lap as Slamet, Van Niekerk, and Van Niekerk is a lap ahead of them, even though they are nose to tail on the circuit. So it's still a fight for third on track, but not on the leaderboard, because the 92 bike is 1 lap ahead of the 68 bike. But it is a fight on track.
A 1 minute 16.9 for the leader coming through. Trevor Westman, a 1:16.8, a tenth of a second faster. He's going to have to take much more out on the laps that are subsequent to this one. I'll tell you that much. Traffic is involved there, as Tiny has mentioned over here. That's going to cause a major factor. That could win or lose a race here for either of them.
Well, we were saying earlier on, it's a fight for position. It is a fight for position on track between these two guys, but not when it comes to the leaderboard and where you finish, because The 60 bike was a matter of fact, yes, the 92 bike is a lap ahead of the 68 bike.
Watching out for where the leader should be. Watch out for that white Fireblade 1000cc Honda motorcycle. That is the number 19, of course, by young Kewan Snyman and the experienced Johnny Towers. Main straight it is now. Lots of back markers coming around. A 1:16.5 for the Snyman Towers number 19 entry. We wait now for Trevor Westman's ZX10. It looks closer, Frankie. Say it's going to be 11.7 now. That is the gap.
The leader's making his way into turn number 2 already, and that is Snyman and Towers. So right there on his own is the 19 bike Westman, 11.7. So I think that's more or less where it's going to stop. I don't think he's going to get any closer to that 19 machine with nearly 11 minutes left on the clock.
Well, the last 2 consecutive laps, Frankie, it was a 1/10 of a second that he was quicker. He's going to have to do much more than that, but I don't think he has much more. And there's nothing against Trevor Westman. It doesn't say anything about his talent. I think it's just too steep a hill to climb.
Yeah, it is. But Trevor will never say die, that's for sure, as we know with Trevor Westman. One of the slower, that's the 93 bikers going into turn 1, Zante Otto and Jason Lineker, and the leader coming past us once again, heading into turn number 1, all on his lonesome. That is Johnny Towers, that is aboard that machine, heading out of 1. Trevor Westman just crossed the, oh, he's made a big indent there, 10.9, Westman coming out of turn number 1, Trevor Westman, so he is getting closer and closer. Right, let's sum this all up. Trevor Westman is heading towards turn number 2. And as we stay with him, Byron, I want to have a look and see out the window exactly where that leader is, because Westman is on his case.
Yeah, 8/10 of a second he took out of the number 19 bike the last time around, a 1:16.1 compared to a 1:16.9. We now are going towards the last 10 minutes of this motor race. And they've left behind the Van Niekerk 92, the Slade and Matthew Van Niekerk machine. And we wait now. The leader will be coming around once more to complete lap 37 of this race. Coming out of Pertamina Fastron onto the main straight, then he'll then run past the old bus stop chicane for the bikes and towards the City of Cape Town Castrol and Wingfield Motors Bridge.
Right, here we go. Leader underneath us into turn number 1. That is Kewan Snyman. 9 minutes and 50 seconds left. Second place man heading under the City of Cape Town Bridge now. That's Trevor Westman. And it's 10.476 seconds difference between P1 and P2 as P1 makes his way into turn 2 Castrol.
4/10 of a second on the last lap alone, having completed those 37 laps now. Watch them push on this next lap, lap number 38, as we are now within the last 10 minutes of this race, coming up for 9 minutes left in this Superbike endurance mint. All right, so the number 1 machine, or the number, the first place machine, number P1, yeah, sorry, there we go, and number 19 to be exact, comes through that section and will run it through onto the back straights for yet another occasion, the 38th time to be exact, and into Pertamina Fastron now, and we'll get on the gas and out of turn 5 towards the line once more to complete lap 38.
Well, going into turn number 2 now, it's not a fight, it's a fight for position on track between bike 92 and 68, but on the leaderboard, the 92 bike is 1 lap ahead of the 68 bike, and that is Slade and Matthew Van Niekerk versus Slamet. They are making their way. There we see them on your TV at home, the two of them. So as I said, a fight on track, which is now beginning to peter out, but that won't hassle Slade and Matthew Van Niekerk too much, because they are 1 lap ahead of that 68 bike that's in P4 of Ronald Slamet.
And just to see how things are, a 1:17.423 from Trevor Westman, a 1:15.9 from bike number 19, and it looks like that might be over, that battle over there, and Trevor Westman will have to be content with second position in this race. He's got a nifty gap between himself and the Van Niekerk 92 entry, 56.1 off of the leader, 44.1 off of second. So he's got that pretty much over there with 7.5 minutes left to go.
Well, it was 10 odd. It's gone back up to 11.9. So yeah, as the leader crosses the line and heads into turn number 1 with just over 7 minutes left. And here he comes towards us. Heading under the bridge is Trevor Westman. It's gone up to 12.5. So Trevor's rolled off. Trevor's rolled off. He'll rather settle for that second place. Well, as Tiny's saying, tires wearing, brakes also suffering a bit. And I think Trevor realizes that that second place is secure because he has rolled off. You got it to, from 22, we got it to 10.9. It's at 12.5. So even the man of Project 60 Racing knows when he must roll off. Then again, he's not a multiple Western Province champion for nothing.
Self-preservation, that's what it's all about in these last little bits. And second place, hey, that's nothing to be ashamed about. I can tell you that much as well. It's just been that the leader, the number 19 machine, has just been untouchable as far as things are concerned today, having completed 39 laps and going for lap number 40 now.
As a matter of interest, Trevor can also roll off because he is 47.4 seconds ahead of bike 92 that's in third place. They are on the same lap, but he's got a lot of time between himself and that 92 bike of Slade and Matthew Van Niekerk.
Into one goes our second place man, Trevor Westman, the man we have been speaking of. 12.3 seconds between himself and the leader, and quite a bit ahead of that third place at this time. Just looking through the field here, Ronald Slamet, number 68 in fourth position. Number 16, Rob Craig and Gerrit Frey. Craig and Frey in fifth position. Number 78, David Etchicott and Wesley Hendricks in sixth position. And then the leader of the 600 class, Zante Otto and Jason Lineker on bike number 93. And then also a superbike runner in there as well. Then eighth position, Nashim Smart, Zahir Adams, Wayne Gress and Niku Fenter in that ninth position on bike number 99. And then Wayne Orense and Brandon Bramdor. They are last at the moment, second in the 600 class.
Leader making his way out of turn number 5. There he comes. That is a number 19 bike sitting up there in P1, crosses the start-finish line. Now that is Kieran Snyman. Westman is still making his way through turn number 5. Here he comes towards us now, Trevor Westman. It was just over 12 seconds. Now it's dropped down to 13.4, so we can now clearly realize that he has now settled for that second place, as he was on the last lap 47 seconds ahead of that 92 bike that's in P3.
Coming up for 4 minutes left in this race. Only a handful more laps. 41 laps have been completed. They are currently on 42 that they are going to be completing fairly shortly. And yes, like we're saying, the Snyman Towers number 19 machine is now still the bike at the forefront of the field. A 15.848 now, and the leader has come into that turn 5 section for Pertamina Fastron and will complete that 42nd lap with probably about another 2 laps in it for them, 2 or 3 laps in it for them. And here comes that white number 19 Fireblade, crosses the line underneath the City of Cape Town Castro and Wingfield Motors Bridge, and we'll have that 3.5 minutes left.
Right, he makes his way through turn number 1. Got a back marker just there ahead of him. You must be very careful. Johnny Taubers rides around him on the outside of turn number 1 as Trevor Westman heads into turn 1 into Holzhoek now. Through he goes. And Trevor's last lap was a 1:16.8. where Johnny Towers was a 116.3.
Through turn 4, we have our on-track battle. Okay, that's coming through the back markers for the leader. And then down the back straight, they'll then run then with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in this endurance race. On his own, 13.9 seconds ahead of his nearest challenger, Trevor Westman. And that's far enough as far as things are concerned. All you need to do here is keep it on the asphalt, and you are fine, I can tell you that much. Westman will come through as well, and that will be on that ZX10. But they'll go through turn 5 across the line as the leader does go now with that 2 minutes left to go. So it'll be two laps, basically, you could say, left to go after having completed 43 racing laps. That best time of 1:12.262 earlier on, the fastest.
Well, we got confirmation from Emil that there's a bike that stopped at the exit of turn 1 on the inside behind the karting race control, and I don't see anything. There could be something up against the wall there, but if that is a bike, we'll have to get the marshals to give tiny confirmation on the number, because we cannot see it too clearly from the monitor.
Well, we'll find out fairly shortly. It'll be very unfortunate, because that'll be 9 bikes will be seeing the checkered flag then, and just short of seeing the checkered flag will be one of them.
The 92 bike has lost the position to the 68 bike there on track, and we'll have a look and see where is that 92 machine of Slater Matthew van Niekerk. They were in 3rd. They dropped down. I wonder, Byron, I'm having a guess because we can't see, is that not the 92 bike that is stuck on the exit of turn 1? If that's the case, it's Slade and Matthew van Niekerk.
Yeah, that will be very unfortunate, Frankie, as they stuck. 9-2, that's confirmed by Tiny as well, by what's on the camera, by what's on the screens. It's unfortunate there that so late in the race, the 3rd place bike has now dropped out of the race. It's 30 seconds. Within that last 30 seconds, Ronald Slamet's up into 3rd position. The checkered flag will be ready now. I can see Andre Grewe, our man, with that checkered flag already there.
The leader's heading into turn number 4, slower rider, and then right behind him is at 19 bike. We've got 5 seconds left on the clock. Will the flag come out now, or will it be an hour plus 1? The flag is out, so we are waiting for that 19 bike to come around and greet or be greeted by the checkered flag.
Checkered flag is ready and waiting. Here comes the Johnny Towers. Okay, I think there was a bit of a delayed reaction with the checkered flag there. They didn't realize it was coming, but that is a checkered flag waving. You can see on our screens here. Those of you around the circuit will hear it with us. That is going to be Westman in 2nd. 12.6 seconds back. Slamet will be the 3rd place man. But punching the air.
Yeah, that's Entercott that's taken the flag there. He'll finish in P5. Zante Otto and Lineker has finished their race. They also a couple of laps down, and so was a 33 of Ardense and Bramdor. So coming towards us now will be Ronald Slamet, and he finishes in that 3rd position. And we're waiting for the 16 bike of Rob Craig. That's a Craig and Frey bike. As a 78 bike has crossed the line, Entercott and Hendrickse in P5. So we're waiting for the 4th place man, bike number 16, to come towards us. And he just crosses the line there. That's that number 16 machine of Craig and Frey. Yeah, the leader did an extra lap. He has won this one comfortably. The number 19 bike of Cuban Snyman and Johnny Towers.